Hi everyone, welcome to day 5, session 2. Until we're waiting to decide what match we want to watch this afternoon, we thought we'd give you a little more croquet, and Joel's here to entertain you with his commentary.
Good morning, everyone. All 4 of you. Oh, we're now up to 6. Just 50% increase in viewers. All right, let me just update the score. We've currently got 4-4 in this match between Will G and Pierre Baudry. Yeah, we don't have a camera operator at the moment, so it'll just be a static view. But yeah, you get better than nothing. We're currently live to 8 viewers. Setting the internet alight here. Yeah, 4-4. 1, 2. Yeah, currently 4-4. My screen's too small to actually see what's going on in the actual pictures. Yours may be too, but I can look out the window and get a much better view of it. So I think this game has some effect on the qualifying situation in the tournament. Let me see if I can find out what effect it's having. Let's get up good old croquet scores. It looks like Pierre's lining up a jump shot there at 3 back to go 5-4 ahead. Which you got. That puts him 5-4 up. And Will's got no position at 4 back, just overrun that. Alright, just trying to figure out which block we're in here. Here we go. Yeah, watching this one at the moment. Currently just a static shot, but if you want to zoom in and so on, that would be brilliant. Yeah, cheers. This game is actually relevant. So, yeah, currently this is a Block F game. And at the moment, JP Mobley on 6 wins and certain to win the 7th game. Will win that block. Stuart Smith has played all his games and got 5 wins. Karim Gamri has played all his games and has 4 wins. So those 3 are definitely through. There are then 3 others, Fletcher, G and Baudry, all on 3 wins. So the loser of this is potentially out and almost certainly out. He'll be stuck on 3 wins. The winner will have 4 wins, level with Gamri for that final spot. 1, 2. Oh no, for 3rd place. And then it will depend on what happens with Fletcher, who is playing Stephen Wright. And so if Fletcher wins, then there'll be a 2-way playoff. 3-way playoff for 2 spots. Are they going to do it? Okay, cool. Right, I'm going to hand you over to our actual competent commentary team of Chris Clark and Richard Goodman. Okay. Down on this one, up on that one, right?
Pierre?
And he's about to take on hoop 10. Okay, so we're joining this match between Pierre Baudry of Belgium and Will G of England in the first game.
It's quite an important match, this one, isn't it?
It is, Bridget, yeah. And basically, they're both on 3 wins. And I think the loser goes out.
Oh.
I think the winner will end up with a playoff.
Right.
I'm just going to double check that. We're watching Will, a very powerful player. He's got power to burn, really.
Right.
And Pierre, less power but very aggressive, takes on a lot of long hoops. Very similar to a lot of the Dulwich players are in that sort of mould.
Do you think they've both been playing a similar amount of time, or do you think Pierre's got a few years on?
It's a good question. Will's been playing since he's been about 10, I would say.
Right.
Member of the Nottingham Club. Played in the first ever under-21s event
Wow.
in Cairo.
Gosh.
And that was a long
Can you
time
imagine,
ago.
you know, what that would have been like?
It was great. I was there.
Yeah. Oh,
I was
fantastic.
there. So, no, it was a really good event. And, you know, people have really come through. Duncan Dixon won the event from New Zealand, and he subsequently won the World Team Championship. People like, you know, Hammy Arian were around at that time. And, yeah, they've gone on to be, you know, world-class players. It's wonderful. Rachel, who is now Will's
Partner, yeah.
wife, was at the event as well.
Gosh.
A women's golf croquet world champion and multiple-time European champion, Rachel.
I had the good fortune to have a bit of coaching from her earlier this year.
She's excellent tactically. You can't go wrong by listening to what Rachel says.
So what's happening here?
But it's a competition at 10, and Will's just made that clearance yellow on blue. And what I've been telling people throughout is when you're clearing towards the boundary,
Yes.
hit hard. When you're clearing into the lawn, like yellow was there, mid-pace.
So leave yourself on the hoop.
So even if you hit it only half ball,
Yeah.
your ball stays within 5 or 6 yards of the hoop. As it was, Will played a much better shot than that and hit it almost in the middle, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. But unfortunately, none of us are good enough to hit it in the middle all the time.
We can all dream.
We can, yeah. So yeah, just double checking again. William, Will and Pierre both on 3 out of 6, both having completed every other match they're going
Right,
to
so
play.
this is their final
This
one.
is the last one, and
the block.
3 is definitely going out,
Right.
and I think 4 is definitely getting a playoff at the moment. It's quite a complicated block, to be honest. Does depend on a few other games, but I think you'll find that 4 will end up with a playoff. The scary thing about it is it might be against Robert Fletcher.
Okay.
I don't think anyone wants to have a playoff game against Robert Fletcher.
And for the uninitiated?
So, Robert Fletcher is an AC World Champion, an AC World #1, who we all expect is going to get better and better as the event goes on. And I know that there are a lot of other #1 seeds who are either hoping he gets eliminated in the block stage, or scared stiff they might play him in the round of 32, because if Robert qualifies, he's probably going to qualify 4th, which means the 4th people in each block play one of the block winners.
Right.
So there's a whole load of block winners going, oh no, I don't want to play him.
Right.
So Pierre and Will have got this position with red and black, and one of the things we can't tell at distance is, are they touching?
I know.
And it makes a big difference as to the shots you're allowed to play, doesn't it, Bridget?
Yes, it does indeed. Obviously, when they're touching, it gives you a lot more freedom.
And both these players, I believe, play some AC. Will's quite a good AC player, probably about a -1. I'm sure Pierre's played some AC, so they're calling a referee on. Certainly at some times in the day, it's quite difficult to tell.
Whether in fact they are touching
They
or
are
not.
touching. And sometimes one of the best ways is to sort of lie down so you're at 90 degrees and put a piece of paper behind.
Which is,
So
I think, what the ref's doing now, isn't it?
Can you see that sort of bit of white or
Yeah.
black behind? So the fact that Pierre's looking at playing into red indicates it's been adjudicated as touching.
Right.
And he's got two options really. I can play just a stop shot, clearing red away, keeping black close, or he could play a drive, trying to follow through, clearing the yellow as well. Not a very good effort at either, really.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing an outcome,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think we've mentioned the score is 5-4 to Pierre.
Yeah.
And the players are discussing this. So, I mean, the shot was clean if it was a croquet stroke. If it was not touching, well, first of all, we should have had a referee, shouldn't it? You know, I think all the players at home, we want to encourage, if the balls are just apart, go and get a referee on.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's assume that they were touching. And it's now yellow to play. And Will's got, I assume, an open shot at the hoop.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I would imagine probably going to go for that.
I would say probably not.
No?
And the reason is black's quite close to 11. And because it's played off the red,
Yes, okay.
it's onside. So that is a really good shot. He wanted to do two things. He wanted to clear the blue, obviously. That's straightforward. But he also wanted yellow on the short boundary side. All blue can do is move yellow a short distance.
Yes, and so he can, yes.
Blue doesn't want to take position at the hoop because yellow's got the short boundary side now. So blue playing in front, red playing in front isn't a particularly strong line for black and blue. You either want to clear yellow and get blue maybe off the lawn itself, or take wide position. That's almost
Does that feel like a little non-shot? Or?
yeah. Yellow
Maybe.
can clear blue, keeping it
Yeah.
away. If black clears yellow, it's giving it this sort of 7 to 8 yard clearance with red.
Which at this
down-
level is pretty reasonably guaranteed.
Yeah. And red's got such an easy hoop, and we know Will's got power to burn. I'm clearing red here. That's the right shot. You don't want to give that clearance away. I know it looks like neutral again, and you know, nothing you shot, but it's much better than clearing the yellow. Whereas I think we can both agree, and I'm hoping we're going to see why blue was bad now.
Yes.
Because
Poor old blue is now on...
yeah, ideally
The
yellow
south
would only
boundary.
have moved half that far, so it's not as punished as it could have been. But again, going back to that position at club level, you might have cleared the ball to the boundary and let your opponent miss their 7 or 8 yarder, because that's what happens at club level. So nothing wrong with thinking, well, if I was playing at the club, I'd have moved that ball
Yeah.
to the boundary and they'd have missed, and
Absolutely,
I'd have
yeah.
won the hoop. Because you're right. But the beauty of this game is every opponent's different. Everyone's got different levels of strength and different levels of weakness. Everyone's
Yes.
got some level of weakness, and finding out what your opponent's is so important. So,
Here's a question for you, Chris.
yeah.
When you're playing, playing a tournament, and you're playing someone that you've played before, and you think, oh, okay, I know their game reasonably well, and I usually beat them.
Yep.
If you're in that happenstance.
Yep.
And then you start getting into this game and you sort of struggling. Do you think that's because you've already decided that you're going to beat them and have forgotten that you're playing the game, or
Well,
do you see where I'm going with this? It's like, oh, I've always played this opponent, so I know what's going to happen, and then suddenly it sort of unravels.
yeah, I mean, obviously, there's two questions. Is it unraveling because you're playing badly,
The thing
or is
could
it
be that.
unraveling because they're playing to a higher level than you'd anticipated?
Yes.
And whilst I think it's important to have a overall understanding of your opponent, you have to acknowledge that sometimes they're going to play
Better.
than you think they are.
Yeah.
And I like starting most of these matches, these best of 3 matches. And for the first 6 hoops of the match, I'm going to play a very conservative game. I'm going to try and take as much position as I can. I'm going to try and avoid 7+ yard clearances as much as I can. I don't want to stress my game.
Right.
That looks like a really good shot by Pierre, blocking yellow at blue. So Will's got two options now. He's got the double clearance, black onto blue, or he could try and just jump, so bounce the yellow before the black, bounce it over the black and hit the blue.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what option he takes. I don't think he's got very much of blue at all if he plays it flat. Certainly not more than about an eighth. So I expect a double clearance. No.
Oh, what a shame.
No. So that's going to be 6-4 now to Pierre. So mentioning this sort of play the first 6 hoops as conservatively as I can. Now, most of the time, I find I'm 4-2 up, or it's gone even better. But sometimes you're 4-2 down,
Yes.
and you can just hopefully move through your gears and go, right, well, okay, well, now I'm going to be taking position and I'm going to be going into my power game. I'm going to be clearing them instead of them playing these first 6 hoops within 7 or 8 yards of the hoop. They're going to find themselves 25 yards away soon. And that's just hopefully going to up the ante and allow me to sort of move through, quickly get back 4-all, and then hopefully break them around the hoop 11 catch.
The all important hoop 11.
Yeah, well, 9s I've always been telling people so important.
Yes.
But,
Yeah. I
9's a big hoop, but 11 is easier to break because it's closer to 10. And then you've got a better idea for the rest of the match. But hopefully I'm going to win 3 out of 4 matches without moving out of cruise control. And the positional players, we watched Robert and Reg in the Opens final. They both had, fantastic positional matches. The positional players can win purely by positional play against the majority of opponents. As we get to the sharper end of this event, that's not going to be good enough. You're going to have to do a bit more. And that's when it's going to be fascinating to see whether Robert and Reg can up their game. Reg yesterday showed the first signs that he was coming into form, and that will have rung alarm bells through his opponents. Everyone knows how good Reg is, and just the indication that he might be finding form. Great shot. Lovely central clearance there by Pierre down in front of hoop 8, and I think yellow might be partially blocking red at black.
Bit tricky to see right from here, though, isn't it?
It is. We never get the perfect angle, do we, it seems?
Not unless you're on top of the ball.
But the beauty about Will's power is even if he hits his quarter ball,
What a
black
shame.
would have moved a long way. You've seen he's only just clipped the yellow and he's moved it off the lawn.
Yeah.
But Pierre's now got a 2-yard hoop to take the first.
Lovely hoop.
So good start for
Absolutely.
the Belgian,
Well done, Pierre.
a member of the Dulwich Club. Comparatively new club, but got a lot of good players and a good social environment there.
I've played there myself a few times, actually.
Excellent.
So always made to feel very welcome.
So yeah, lots of strong GC players at Dulwich.
And so Will has to put all that behind him now
Yep.
and
He's
start
got-
all over again.
He's got lots of experience despite
Indeed,
being quite young. So gets to play first again because he's lost the first game. So they'll keep the colours throughout the match, but the loser of each game is going to play first in the next. So we'll just be hoping to play a good positional shot in front of hoop 1 and get 2-0 up as fast as possible. Looks like they might be off for a quick break. The wind has died down a bit from this morning. The flags are comparatively still. We definitely had some breeze this morning.
Yeah, and it's certainly warming up a little bit as well, and sky's clearing, which is good. Though probably not for the players. I'm just wondering what's happening on some other lawn. It's Toby. Yeah, still warming up.
So Will playing red and yellow, as I said, keeping his same colours, and is allowed to play either ball first. Doesn't
Yes,
matter whether it's
okay.
red or yellow.
He's just decided to keep in sequence.
Got to keep in sequence. Blue plays deep there. The logic being that yellow can't clear it very far. And this time Will be looking to improve his hoop 1 position. Really quite a poor stroke with yellow.
So we're going to try and oh no, hasn't quite made.
Positional play is probably the weakest part of Will's game. And the power is probably the strongest part of his game.
And what about Pierre, do you think?
Well, Pierre, basically, I think is quite a good hoop runner. He takes on more than I would take on. So where he's maybe 6 and 7 yards away, he'll often take the hoop on, where I would be going, I'll just pop another ball in front. But he is a good hoop runner and a perfectly reasonable positional player as well, but probably just on the aggressive side for me, and Will even more aggressive. I've described Will as one-dimensional in the past because it is.
Poor Will.
You rarely see him into the sort of competitive, niggly hoops, just getting cross wires and moving ball a few yards. Will's very much get a ball vaguely in front and have a thrash to. When he plays well, he's very, very difficult to beat. He played Robert Fulford early in the season at Surbiton. And I think I saw Will win 6 consecutive hoops against Robert. And to be fair, Robert didn't do very much wrong, but he found himself 25 yards away with Will's ball 4 or 5 yards roughly in front. And every time Robert would come back and Will would run his 4 or 5 yard hoop and then smash Robert away again. And Robert still won the match, though.
Well, that's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, you know, sometimes you think, well, I'm actually not playing that badly, but how am I not getting anywhere near a hoop?
What I tell people is, if your opponent plays like God, walk on the lawn at the end of the game and shake their hand, and it probably won't happen to you for another year. So let's deal with all the other games that are going to happen during that year and accept that once a year you'll play against your godlike player.
And maybe one day it'll be you.
Maybe one day.
We all deserve a turn.
What I'm trying to encourage people to do is not attempt to be God and actually attempt to play to their average ability. Say, no, this is not a percentage line of play for me. I need to do something different.
I say that's probably very good advice, actually.
Interesting, Pierre just went for quite a gentle hoop there.
Yes.
Clearly not quite as confident as he might be. The stronger players will be trying to run that at
Much
least
further
north
down,
of
but
the
there
peg.
was a little bit of angle on that.
Oh, it wasn't easy. Easy.
Which could have gone wrong, I guess.
It could. And Pierre played it at the sort of pace where had it hit the far wire, it may well have finished in the draws, which, given where yellow and red are, is a strong position for him.
Indeed,
so
yeah.
Not the positional shot with yellow again. This is just weak. Again, earlier this morning I was talking about understanding where your miss is. When you're taking position at hoop 2, if you don't get in front, you're much better long
Yes, stay back.
than short.
Yeah.
The reason being that yellow can now only clear blue a short distance, whereas had it been on the long side, if red takes position, yellow can then smash blue back to corner 4.
Yeah.
So very poor
That's
shot.
good. Yeah.
Know where your misses. Good shot from Will. a couple of yards dead straight. And Pierre will now just take position because yellow can't do much with this blue.
Oh,
It's
gonna
close.
sit in
It's
front.
close.
Oh,
No.
just gone too far. Couple of ball rolls.
And we might have got this. That's a really good effort. Central ball clearance, allowing yellow to follow through onto the blocking line, and he's nailed it. Pierre tried to block red's hoop shot.
Oh, I think
Great
he
shot.
might have done
Really
that,
good
yes.
shot. Excellent. And this is Will's
Little
jumping
jump.
technique.
Lovely.
Puts his hands down the mallet. Plays it almost like what we call a flip in association croquet.
What's a flip?
Well, instead of playing more with your hands to the top and using your shoulders, you're using more your wrist, and we generally play we're closer to the hoop. I'll just let him play it.
Sure.
Good shot. And we often play that type of shot from closer range to try and get the height faster and get the ball top spinning faster. So when you may be a foot away from the hoop or 18 inches, getting the height faster than playing standing up. Very few of the out and out GC players would play that shot. They'd just play a normal standard jump. It's whatever you're comfortable with, really. So black played deep there. And you might think yellow's dreadful, but it isn't. Remembering again what we said earlier about the
Yes.
miss, black can't clear yellow to
Where
corner
can it
4.
go? Exactly.
So just trying to bide his time in order to get both his balls into the hoop, saying, hey black, you can't
Yeah.
clear that yellow.
There's a lot of taunting in croquet, isn't there?
Yes. And Pierre's just gone to have a look as to whether that second shot from Will has blocked yellow from clearing blue, which would be pretty disastrous.
What do you think? Do you think? I just wondered whether black can actually see the hoop.
It might be able to. If yellow's open on blue, taking the hoop on, it's massively aggressive. That's the shot you would play most of the time, I think. Just try and block red at the hoop and saying,
That's
hey,
worked really well. Yeah.
As a rule of thumb, when I've got two balls closer to the hoop than my opponent, most of the time I'm winning.
Lovely clear. Oh, unfortunately hitting the middle hoop there.
So we'll see now whether black has covered red's hoop, and if it has, Pierre will just play another ball in, and if it hasn't, he'll shoot at red. And it looks like his shooting technique. Just trying to get a spectator to sit down behind the line of aim.
It's always just sometimes people just catch your eye, don't they?
Nope.
Oh, unlucky.
So red will take its hoop on here. And I'm pretty sure if he runs it, it will end up off the south boundary. No.
Not this time.
So an easier hoop now for black.
Do you think there's an element of rushing that?
That's Will's standard pace of play. He's a fast player. I'm a big believer in playing to your natural pace. And what you normally find with, I'm going to start talking about teenagers now, is teenagers tend to play quickly. And then in their 20s, they don't necessarily stop playing quickly, but on the key shot, the sort of
It's a lovely approach.
very good shot, 1 in every 12, which is particularly important, they'll just take that extra 2 or 3 seconds, and that will be them maturing in the game.
Right. That's
Even
really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, even players like James Death, who plays very, very quickly. It's noticeable from moving from a teenager to he's 40 now. Is James? He's just 2 or 3 seconds extra on the key strokes, and now he's double Open champion. And a very strong golf croquet player as well. So as you mentioned, really good yellow. Blue wants to be inside that, and it's
Ooh,
really
cheeky.
good blue.
What a cheeky shot.
Probably got the block. But every time your opponent's got that 2-yard hoop that yellow has, I want to have in the back of yellow's mind, but my opponent's got a shorter one if I miss. That's the thought process I'm trying to instill in them. Another good shot, that red nicely down there. I don't think he's blocking yellow at blue.
Or potential maybe for a jump from yellow. Oh, let me sit.
So he's having a look at all his options here. He could jump. I don't think he should. I just think clear blue to the south boundary. Try and get a wire if it's possible. And he's taking the jump on. So he's obviously got some sort of block.
Oh, and then he's snuck in front of the blue. It's quite a close shot, but obviously we can't quite see from this angle.
I think this is straightforward. I think this is probably about a foot away.
Okay.
15 degrees. And it's just meat and drink, this, to a golf croquet player. This is what you just do all the time. Little hop over yellow. And, you know, he should be 3-1 up here. Yeah, easy
Well
shot.
done.
Well played.
Yep.
It went through at that beautiful height. It was nowhere near the yellow and nowhere near the crown.
Yeah.
So really well
Lovely
executed.
shot. Yeah.
And now he's got the bonus that yellow can't get to hoop 5. So red will play in front of hoop 5, and he's got no real protection. The standard play here would be red in front, black in front, and then yellow will try and run the hoop onto blue to block blue's clearance at red. It looks like it might even be on a wire and not have that angle. So quite right, he's playing onside. He wants to be south of the peg. And he's just saying cross fingers, blue misses the red ball. Yeah, he's got the first half of it. So with a good hoop shot, he'll be getting close to equalising at 3-all again.
Oh no. Oh dear.
One of the things I work on with Jenny and myself when I was playing was something I call tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the speed of the swing. And I like to encourage players to have as slow a tempo as you can. You want to be accelerating through the ball as you hit it, but fast swings go wrong more than smoother, slower swings.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch Fulford, you watch Bamford, they have smooth swings. Robert Fulford practices at home using a swing trainer
Yep.
and a metronome.
Okay. We could just use a lovely piece of music.
He could. He could. So, yes, Robert's wife, Susan, is a music teacher.
Oh, very good.
So his metronome is easily accessible. I think Pierre's jumping here. 2 good results. Clear yellow, or clear both red and yellow and run the hoop.
Oh, unlucky.
I hope one of the things that the viewers at home are noticing is shots like that don't succeed on a very high percentage basis. That might have been a 1 in 5.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
So anyone who's thinking, oh no, these really good players, they jump over you from 3 yards all the time. Well, no, they don't. It's one of the reasons I like being close to the hoop. I'm happy to concede that sort of difficult
I
shot.
have to say, I've been in that position where I think, do you know what? If that jump works from 9 yards, you're very welcome to it.
Yeah. we saw one this morning. Ewan managed to jump through hoop 5 from the south boundary
Right.
against Alison Sharp, and it was a magnificent shot. But Alison won the match. So it's not about the flashy stuff.
No, well, unless you're going to be consistent at it, of course.
Anyone who can get their balls closer to the hoop than their opponent is always in a pretty good position. Maybe not when we get to the quarterfinals, but I'm sure there's a lot of people at home thinking, oh, I'd quite like to get to a quarterfinal of the World Championship. So it's a standard sort of shot. What Will's saying is his mallet's hit the ground here, and it's caused a bit of damage. If it's significant to affect a ball travelling over it in future, it will be called a fault. And Pierre will have the choice of leaving it where it's finished or putting it back again. The normal test is to roll the ball over the damaged spot from about a foot away in various directions and see if it deflects.
Right. Okay.
And one of the most important things to tell people is don't go and stamp on the damage, because that is now in the rules. You're not allowed to do it, and if you've been seen doing that, then you're automatically going to get penalised. So let the referee come and see what the damage is. Once they've decided whether it's sufficient to be a fault or not, then you can repair the damage after that. And the reason Will's taken this very long shot at what presumably was a double, blue and the hoop, is yellow's probably got nothing. The peg's in the way of everything. So he's thinking, well, red's the only chance I'm ever going to get. And here we can see the referee performing the test, rolling it over from a few angles. And I know, having done this myself, you actually miss the damage every now and then because you're not good enough at rolling it over. So don't be surprised.
Unless you're a lawn bowler.
Yes, indeed. But don't be surprised to see 4 or 5 goes at this. And a lot of these tend not to be sufficient to cause any issue. So we'll see what happens. So it looks to me as if the referee's decided, no, that's not sufficient damage to be called a fault. And she's now got her pitch mark repair out, lifting the grass around it, and just once she's done that, she'll press it down. And that looked like a really good piece of refereeing. I've sat here for years now, and I always try and tell the viewers when I see a bad piece of refereeing, because it's important to highlight that so we improve as a group of players. I'd like to highlight that as a good piece of refereeing. So just need to make sure you don't get hamper blue here. Nice to have another ball in, particularly if it's wired from red, just in case this yellow manages to bend its way around the peg and rest on the back of blue. Yeah, it's got blue. Now, I just had to stop there as Toby was taking an important shot on the lawn next to us. What I was going to say is, had black finished wide from red, yellow had blue had the opportunity to clear yellow, potentially getting over towards hoop 7. So I'm assuming that that Will can actually hit this black ball now.
Oh,
No, so he's got the blue, and they've both headed down towards the south boundary. So Pierre's got a nice straightforward
clean.
1 yard hoop.
oh no! We've all been there.
I think what might turn out to be quite important in this match is, I mentioned, I think
Oh, that's a
Will's
nice
got
shot.
power and Pierre's quite good at hoop running, and that Will's positional play isn't great. But if I had to put another weakness on Pierre, I think he's slightly vulnerable under pressure.
As we can all be, but oh,
We'll probably find now he runs a 7 yard hoop 13 in the third and shows what a complete lot of rubbish that was. But no, I do genuinely feel that he does feel pressure more than
some
would
other
be
players.
ideal.
Yeah. I know it's been talked about a lot this morning already, actually, but for those who were listening earlier, but how you combat that. Everyone has a slightly different way of doing it, but a lot of people have been talking about practicing the pressure, going through your routine so that actually when you are under pressure you forget.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the key word there. Great clearance from Pierre. Routine.
Yes.
If you can create a routine, it minimises pressure because you're in your own standard mindset. I think that might be a bit close for my liking. Two
Yes, it
options
feels-
for Pierre:
yeah.
nudge in front or stop shot yellow away. And I fancy stop shotting yellow away.
I go for that one.
This concept that I've been talking about of clearing the ball that plays before you. If you can clear the ball that plays before you, it's much stronger than clearing the ball that plays after you. And this is basically Pierre saying, I'm happy, Will, for you to take this 5 yard hoop on. And it's a good tactic.
Yeah.
If Will just gets 1 5 yard go each hoop, he's going to lose. And now you can see what a strong position this is for black and blue. Black will try and play not just into hoop running position, but he'll try and block yellow at the hoop. I would rather see him be much closer to hoop there. He's trying to block yellow at blue, and he's played a good shot as far as I can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
The downside of this is it forces the hoop shot. A good effort from Will at that range.
Absolutely. Oh.
Yes, every player feels pressure. The only question is, how do you react to it?
Absolutely, yes. Well done, good hoop.
Don't know. Second game. Don't know. Good shot from Will. If you could do that more often, he'd be so much more difficult to beat. And Pierre will take the clearance on with the first ball here. Yeah, lovely shot. Normally you take position with the first ball and clear with the second, and hoop 7 is one of the ones which you tend to do the opposite way around.
What's the reason for that?
Basically, if you miss, you're finishing in a quite handy position on the north boundary normally, whereas if you miss other shots, you're tending to be down on the hoop. So yeah, getting that clearance first ball is particularly handy. If you take position and clear with the second ball, the best you can normally do is move it 8 or 9 yards away, and they're quite likely to hit you back again. So yeah, we encourage that first ball clearance if you're within, 7 or 8 yards of the ball. Excellent shot from Pierre there, taking position so red can't clear it because yellow's in the way. So Will looking to try and block black at yellow as he can't clear the blue. Looks like a good shot to me, that. Oh, it was close.
So close indeed.
Managing to land between red and yellow, jump over yellow. I'm really surprised at that. That was a fairly straightforward hoop.
Yeah, love it. Would you?
And red's further away. Pierre wisely just playing back in, but has underhit it by a good yard.
Yeah.
A good yard.
Yeah, I was worried if we did do it then. Somebody else would do it.
Good hoop.
Oh, beautiful hoop.
So 4-3.
I'll be pleased with that, won't he?
He will. And equally, as Pierre, I won't be that fussed about it. I want to just make sure that I keep giving him long hoops if he needs to beat me. It's a good positional shot.
Lovely shot.
If we're in a perfect world, it's a yard to the right wide from yellow. But my priority is making sure blue has a very straightforward hoop. Force yellow to clear it, and equally force red to take a decent position.
Score right, and also ratings. Apparently that's pretty good for what we've had 4 months.
Yeah. Big subscribe.
Yeah. I might say that.
So once again, I think Pierre's managed to generate a position that's to his advantage. Blue's got a fairly easy hoop. Yellow has to hit a 9-yarder to clear it. And even if yellow hits the 9-yarder, red's got quite a tricky hoop. First of all, it's longer than blue's hoop, and secondly, it's got black sort of
Slightly hampering, or
Yeah.
certainly
yeah.
distracting.
So if yellow nails blue up towards us in corner 2, I'm not going to shoot back at red. I'm just going to play another ball back in. Say, okay, red, go and run this testing hoop.
But if we had another operator, they could go out
So Mohammed Naz offering to come and hold the netting back for
I
Will.
see.
Yeah, so the software is called.
Very good clearance. Yellow's
Slightly
finished
topped it.
near corner 2. And part of the issue is he doesn't need to hit it that hard. He could have cleared blue to corner 2, taking something off that shot, and it would have been more likely to have been on the ground instead of bouncing, because he wouldn't have had to hit it that hard. So Pierre, looking at how difficult red's hoop is, Will just reminding him that actually it's blue to
It is,
play.
yes.
So good play from both of them. And I think we'll see, if Pierre plays anything like me, Lou just play between red and the hoop and put another ball in the action.
They had someone with a backpack and camera, which would be
The
really
line's not very good.
Yeah,
you're looking from one
you're
spot.
short.
Very average shot there.
How distracting is that black?
I think he'll play it as a sort of mini jump shot. It needs a referee.
Yeah, fair enough.
And what we often find here is the referee calls out a second referee. So the primary referee will be watching the mallet hit the red ball.
Yes,
That's all he's focused on. And the sub-referee...
we'll be looking at the black.
Correct.
I love the way that all the referees always come on with a mallet, with a...
Yeah, they need to be a bit heavier. They're not quite up to the job. We mentioned earlier, for viewers who weren't watching this morning, the hoops this week are, whilst they're not difficult, they're much more difficult than they were 6 weeks ago at the Open. So it's,
and why, and how's that?
I think it's down to the lack of rainfall and the sun and the subsoil becoming firmer.
Right.
So the top surface is still quite lush, but I think if you go 2 inches down, we're getting quite firm ground now, and the carrots are staying firmer longer. And the noise goes from a dull thud to a slightly higher pitched thud as it gets
I see. Yeah,
firmer.
yeah, yeah. I
So
hadn't
you
realised that.
You can tell how difficult they are, sort of audibly as well as visually. And that's made the games much more interesting than they were at the Open. Much more people failing hoops and getting tactical positions.
Bad luck.
And that sort of shot, which sort of wiggled in the middle of the drawers,
Yes.
often went through 6 weeks ago because the hoop wasn't
Yeah.
putting up any resistance. But now it is. We're getting far more interesting play.
And do we know what the tolerance has been set for?
Yeah, it's about a 30-second.
That's not much, is it?
Not much. If they feel that they were particularly easy, I'll just wait for Will to play.
Wow. Bad luck.
Took on a long double, probably about a couple of balls between blue and the hoop, and hit the outside wire of the right-hand side. So
Possibly
not
I
a bad
felt I
shot.
was a little bit closer to the back of his mallet than I would have preferred sitting here.
So you mentioned the tolerances. 30 seconds is standard. The manager, in conjunction with the referee of the tournament, has the option of reducing that to a 64th in the later stages, should they feel it warrants it. At the moment, I think this is a nice tournament. The hoops are reacting quite well. I'd just keep them as they are. Both these players playing with the modern carbon fibre type mallet. Pierre using a round headed mallet, and Will a square. Originally this type of carbon fibre mallet made by Alan Pidcock, and now Dave Trimmer is in charge of the business. Very good mallets, and make the game so much easier than when I started playing 38 years ago.
I have to confess, I have a PFC hoop maker from Australia,
Right, they've been very popular.
and I started myself with a wooden mallet, and I just found just having the lightness
Yep.
really helped my accuracy,
Right.
and actually my back. But nothing wrong with wooden mallets at all.
It's the length as much as the peripheral weighting from my perspective. You know, starting in about 1984, everyone used a 9-inch mallet, and now, you know, 11 inches is regarded as standard. It does make it so much easier. So here we're now getting into one of those more tactical positions. Red staying wired from black. Again on the short boundary side. Eventually one of these balls is going to have to take position at the hoop, and it would normally be black straight away. So lots of choices here. The yellow can just take position. That's a straightforward basic choice if you want.
Sort of gone for.
He knows blue can only clear red to 7 yards away. And because yellow's gone so far away, he's now putting another ball in front. Oh, he's trying the block. I don't like this because this is very close for the double clearance. And providing Will doesn't overhit it, which will create bounce and potentially get blue bouncing too early. Oh, he's done that instead. And this is why I prefer yellow 2 to 3 feet closer.
Yeah.
Because having played this line of play, I don't want to end up with yellow having a 3-yard hoop when blue's got a 1-yard hoop. And I think that is a really good play by Pierre. He's 4-3 up, and he's saying, okay, I'm going to give you this hoop, and if you fail it, I've got 2 balls in front.
Absolutely, yeah.
Red's miles away on the east boundary. So he's
And yellow
putting
has no choice but to go for this.
Absolutely. And, you know, even if Will runs this, well, it's only 4 all, and Pierre gets first play at 9. The big hoop. And if he crashes off to the west boundary, blue can just dribble it into the drawers. So yeah, lots of Will's games, it might seem as if the opponent isn't doing very much, but unless he's on form, well, doing not very much wins. So I would have hit that maybe a third of that pace. Just saying,
Just
look,
nice and gentle. Yeah.
the jaws is so good. Again, I mentioned sound earlier. To me, I can hear that hoop is slightly firmer than some of the other ones on the lawn,
Oh, okay.
and it just makes them so much more difficult to run if they're firm.
So, go for black now.
Got to go for black.
Yep.
Pierre's going to be really kicking himself if black fails this.
Yes.
You know, fundamentally, if it bounces off to the side, that it's back to close to 50-50 again. Good
Lovely.
hoop, very good. So 5-3 to Pierre, and this really mega important shot. Can he get 4 to 5 feet dead straight? And it's
Soft.
short. It's short. I'm not even sure that's jawsable.
What's going on there, Chris?
Well, my best guess is that they've marked the blue and they're trying to move it out of an old hoop hole.
Right.
So not a lot of leeway for moving the lawns at Southwick. So what they tend to use is the leeway in the rules which allow the hoops to be moved, I think it's 12 inches in any direction. So you often find they're moved sideways, and just to the side of each hoop there's an old hoop hole that's been filled
Yes.
in with soil and sand. And just trying to make sure you're not having play out of one of those old hoop holes. So see if you can do better second time here. This looks a bit better. Yep, that's in front. He would have been happy with that with the first ball.
Yes.
Um,
Hasn't quite blocked blue. Oh, helping hand. Sometimes you need one.
I think blue's still open on the red ball. And this will be clearing black. Again, clearing on the right hand side, so yellow takes the south boundary. So Pierre has moved his ball in from the boundary to give himself a flat stance, and one of the rules there is if you do that, you have to ask your opponent, do you want the red moved as well? Because red's within 6 yards. And
Right.
Will said, nah, don't worry about it, it's fine as it is. And that's just Will's choice. So nice, patient clearance there, keeping blue within range of the hoop. Red will come straight back again. I think black will play between red and the hoop, trying to get wide from yellow with the red.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting. That's short from where Pierre wanted it, and it might be short enough that he can't hit the red ball anymore. In which case, Will would regard this as a free go at hoop 9. He's played that quite a lot of pace. It's gone past the hoop. That's not runnable at all. So can blue just clear this red or not? Yep, so it looks like he's trying to cut the red on the right hand side, which would then put black in the way of red running the hoop.
Yep, and he's done. Well,
Well, not enough. He was going quarter ball and he got half ball. So red's now got a choice, hoop or ball, and I think he's going to take ball. Again, one of the mid-pace clearances we saw with yellow earlier. No, that's his hard shot, so that might be the hoop. Again, people asking, does he want the meshing move back? And he's saying, nah, I'll just be okay. Scarily enough, that's Will's mid-pace strength. I know my wife would call that a hard clearance. But anyway, really well played shot. Red and yellow have now
it's still
stayed close.
absolutely.
It's not as strong a position for them as it looks, because black is the first ball to play back. So black's going to be able to take running position, and then blue has south boundary position to be able to take control of hopefully red or yellow. And that's a bad place to play. You're much better playing between red and yellow to the eastern side of the hoop, because what Will's going to try and do now is place the yellow in running position with the black blocking the blue's clearance.
Yeah.
Whereas if he'd played black between red and yellow, that wouldn't be an option, that line. Looking at whether he's got it. If it's close, Pierre might ask a referee to move the blue in, because it's a critical position. Normally throughout these matches they're moving them in without asking, because they're non-critical balls.
I think he's just asked for a ref.
And I did a lot of this at Compton when I was refereeing over there in the qualifier. Lots of balls having to be moved in. Again, due to the fact that they've got different types of grass, and Compton, the banks down to the football field on some lawns, so the players needed, maybe up to a foot of relief. And here, the referee's going to need to move the blue, and then they're going to need to move the black, and they're going to need to adjudicate beforehand how much of yellow can blue see. Is it an eighth, a tenth, a twelfth? So that remains the same after both balls have been moved in. And it's quite a difficult job. I was normally taking about 2 minutes to do this job properly.
No, as you say, it's a very, very key shot, key moment.
And it's not so critical here, because both these players, they sort of get on with each other and it's all friendly. But you get two players who don't like each other, they'll both be watching what the referee's doing. They certainly won't be allowing Pierre to do any helping. It'll be, right, the referee will be doing it and I'll be watching it. So it's nice to have this, more relaxed,
more collaborative
game, despite the fact that this is, the loser of this knows they're out of the World Championship. So now, blue to clear yellow, or possibly, we don't really know, maybe to run the hoop.
Who knows?
But I think,
doesn't feel like Pierre's style, right?
I think, given that he's had those balls moved, he's putting the hoop in. I thought he might be traking on yellow.
Does he have a double target?
No, I think they're about two balls apart is the target. So at that range, he wouldn't regard that. Nah.
I think it was in the way.
So this is straightforward hoop for Will. Remembering Will's 5-3 down. And the question is, what's going to happen when he runs the hoop? Oh, sorry, he's red, isn't he? getting my order of play right.
Yeah, so it was the balls hitting each other.
Yeah, and I don't play that line of play there. I don't clear black 3 yards further. I try and lag the red onto the black. And if you get it right, there's no comeback. Whereas here, Pierre's just got another 6-yarder. Possibly with the option, as you mentioned, when it was further to the side, it might be a double. This is certainly might be a double.
Oh, very close.
It probably was. And he's
Very
probably hit the middle of the
close.
double.
So once more, or rather, what we originally thought.
Yeah.
Or,
So he wants to run this up to 10. It looks quite angled. So I think
Yes.
we will genuinely see a reason for hitting this quite firmly. And he has
well
done. And that's a good shot, getting about peg high.
Yep. That's 3-4.
5-4. Sorry,
5-4.
5-4 to Pierre.
Yeah, 5-4 to Pierre.
And game up as well. And my big worry is Pierre is going to see the winning line approaching.
Well, don't put it into his head then.
So he needs to put some pressure on blue by getting between blue and the hoop here. So it looks like a good paced shot.
Oh, lovely shot.
Very good, that. Excellent. This time Pierre needs to improve the black compared to the blue, and he hasn't done. So I think will take the clearance on blue, trying to rush it to corner 3. Good shot at AC,
Yes.
not a very good shot at GC. Flick that blue, just moved it a couple of feet east, and Pierre's got a very straightforward clearance now. I recommend hitting this in the middle to try and keep blue in.
In somewhat, yeah, in vicinity.
Now that was the alternative, which was to hit it half ball and get blue in front of 11. At 5-4 up, I don't do that. I just try and maximise my chance to get 6-4 up. If I was 5-4 down, that would be the shot I would have played.
Right.
Nothing wrong at all with playing into blocking position here. It's a long hoop that black's got. Not Will's style at all, though. I think if you'd watched Fulford play that, he'd have been fancying putting a ball in position.
Yeah, okay.
I want to build pressure on Pierre.
But equally, he's got absolutely nothing to lose by going for this. Really.
You are absolutely correct. He's got nothing to lose.
Hard.
We'll just watch him play the shot. And lovely, lovely hoop stroke. Didn't touch a wire.
Did it?
And I want to think further. Had Will tried to put a ball in blocking, he's now going to be in a much better position. So black's run the hoop. The normal line of play is to play your first ball in. You can't do that now.
Not where the blue is. No,
So
where his other.
Blue has to shoot.
Yes.
Sorry, yellow has to shoot at blue. And even if it hits, red's so far away that Will's going to find himself hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. And every time you take these shots on moving your ball 15 yards away from the next hoop, it's not just that one hoop. It's the next one, and remember, this is match point.
No.
So, for the match, and equally importantly, as you
Go,
said at
yeah.
10,
Yeah.
no pressure. All this thing I've been saying about, I think Pierre might be a bit weak under pressure. Well, he hasn't had any of Will's balls near the hoop that he's been trying to run. Very good.
Well done,
Very good.
Pierre.
So,
Hard lines, Will.
I'm afraid that's the end of Will's tournament. And Pierre, I think, will have a playoff game later on this afternoon.
And just to explain to everyone, that's because although he's level with other people in that block to go through.
To go through on people who had tied for fourth.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you tied for first, second or third. You just split by net games, then net points, etc. But if you tied for fourth, you don't go out of the tournament by net hoops and net games.
Right.
You get a genuine playoff game against the person you tied against. And if there's more than two people tied, then there's a very complicated system of working out who plays who and etc., which I won't go into at the
Which
moment.
might leave to the experts for the moment.
So we'll have a look at what Alison's planning. Probably turn off the mic for a minute, and we'll be back with a new game.
The training is that second?
I don't know.
I'll update you. So Robert, current Open champion, 5-time AC World champion. Arguably the best player that's ever played croquet. Arguably. In the black,
Yep.
Kiwi, Nelson Morrow. Claims he's the oldest player in the championship.
Ah,
We're not 100% sure, but he's making that claim. He's, I think he's 72.
I've overheard that he said earlier that this might be his last.
Yes, so he's thinking it's his last. So we're not on air yet. You'll tell us when we're on, will you?
Ali? Oh, we are on.
We
Sorry,
are on.
guys.
Okay, so right, so we switched over to the second game between Robert Fulford and Nelson Morrow. Robert playing red and yellow. Robert's current Open champion at golf croquet and 5-time AC World champion. And Nelson, playing in what he said was his last tournament, you were saying?
Yes,
Heard him
so
say
I
that?
overheard him this morning saying that.
And claiming to be the oldest player at, I think, 72. He's playing black and blue. And this is actually quite interesting. Robert, I believe, has already probably won the block. Nelson, on the other hand, has got 2 wins. And I think there's a tiny, tiny chance that 3 might get a playoff.
Ah,
Now, we're not really expecting Nelson, who's the number 8 seed, to beat Robert, the number 1 seed in the block. But all I'm trying to say is it's not dead for Nelson. This isn't a dead
no,
match, I
no,
don't
no,
think.
absolutely.
And although he's game down,
What's the score?
he's
please?
2-1 down in this
2-1.
game. Oh dear,
Oof.
moved his partner ball.
Huh.
So it's quite possible that this may be over fairly quickly. And then we're just going to have a look round and see what match comes on lawn 1 next, which is a little bit easier to get good camera angles for. And Robert plays with a mallet with a bent shaft, which you may have noticed.
Yes.
And that's designed just to help his wrists that are quite worn over many years, and just allow them a better angle on the mallet. Always been an Irish grip player, Robert.
Like myself.
It's the best grip.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh,
Irish grip players produce a much flatter swing plane,
okay.
and flatness of swing plane is really important from a technique point of view. It's generating a greater sweet spot, so you've got a flatter bottom boat effectively.
And yes, when you hit that sweet spot, don't you know it?
Yep. If we compare this to the last match we watched, these players will be spending much less of the time clearing and much more of the time positionally.
Yeah.
And we can already see both red and blue are dead straight in front of the hoop. And very nice mid-pace clearance there by Nelson. And you won't see many firm shots throughout this entire match. They're all going to be control play. And was it just natural for you to pick up a mallet Irish grip?
Yes, it was actually. I, like many people, I suppose, I played as a child in the garden around the rose bushes with an ancient croquet set. And it's just the way I picked the mallet up.
That's interesting, because a lot of children who've started, very young, play with a Solomon grip, because that's the only way they can swing it.
Because they don't have the strength.
Yes, that's right.
But I was, so I played tennis from the age of 4. So I'm sort of, it's kind of how I hold tennis rackets.
Yeah.
But it's not the prettiest grip. I rather admire the Solomon grip.
Good shot
to be
there
honest.
from Nelson.
It always looks so beautiful.
Right.
What grip do you use?
I'm standard grip, right-handed. Started off with hands apart, which is technically weak. You want your hands basically working together and the swing coming from the shoulders. And then probably about 6 years into playing, moved my hands close together, and now they're basically more or less touching. It's a pretty reasonable technique. Always been standard, and never had the physical talent to move to either either of the other grips. I'm completely rubbish any other way.
Yes, I've tried the Solomon and I just
Again,
can't get to grips with it, but perhaps I
compare,
haven't tried hard enough.
yeah, compare that clearance we've just seen blue on red with the last game.
Yes.
Blue's hit red and it's moved it 4 yards, and Will would have been moving it 40. So Rob will be trying to centre ball the black here, getting red in position. And he's done that nicely. Red's in front. Nelson will need to move that straight away with the black. Now, my wife did something that I regard as close to unbelievable, given my inability to do anything with my left hand. She swapped, and she became probably the best female player in the world playing with one hand. Got injured, swapped to playing with the other hand, went all the way down the rankings close to about 100th, and then went all the way back up to become the best, certainly association croquet female in the world, playing with the opposite hand.
That's incredible.
Which I regard as
That's absolutely incredible.
remarkable. But she is ambidextrous, she tells me.
I think she proves that.
And I think she's right, yeah. Yeah. But no, I think I'm not sure I'd be in the top 1,000 playing left-handed, you know. Bad luck from Nelson. He's cleared the red, and it's cleared through hoop 5.
Thank you very much, says Robert.
And 3-2 to Rob. Game up. So Nick Archer and Ian Burridge have just finished way in the distance on lawn 11, and I think it went 3. I don't know who won, but it's a really, really important match for both of them. And again, beautiful
Beautiful,
position.
isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yes, lovely. Slightly blocked the red.
Nelson may take on his hoop here. He's 2 balls down.
Yes.
Outside of the wire.
Looked good from where I was.
Yeah, yeah. I think if Robert was standing here, he could have tried to claim it, but no, I'm afraid he just flicked out the outside of the wire. And Robert will be making sure that yellow is not able to be hit by the black ball, and he's also blocking the hoop. Tried to hit the red and follow through onto the yellow, which was all he had available.
Yeah.
And a good effort. And Rob just making absolutely sure. We've seen earlier players hit those hard, bounce off.
Yes.
And Robert knows that red can clear the black to a position where yellow can't hit it. So all he's got to protect is, you know, blue hitting this 12-yarder through the hoop.
Blue clears red?
Blue could clear red. But even then, Nelson's pace of clearance isn't going to move red very far.
Okay.
So he's better off trying to clear the
Because
yellow
I was thinking
first
if that
shot.
went down to the south boundary, then
Not in Nelson's
this.
repertoire. Will, all the time. And again, no need for Robert to hit that too hard, because black can't clear yellow from south of it.
Yeah.
So you might as well make sure red stays near a 7 than hit it hard. And Robert's got a choice here. He can run it by just a couple of feet. That will mean that red could rush yellow in front of 7. And yet it still allows red to play to 7 naturally.
So it's 4-2.
And Nelson, as he always does, takes a really nice position. He's really strong in all positional areas, and it's just his lack of power is going to be his main issue. And Rob's decided now, let's just play back in. I don't need to rush yellow over there. It's unnecessary 4-2 up. Yellow's got a fairly short clearance on blue.
And also these things have a habit of going awry.
Absolutely. One of the best rushers the world has ever seen, Robert. So, clearance on blue.
Sharp.
In the first, Robert won. So blue now forced to clear the red ball. And misses. And Rob will be trying to run this down to hoop 8.
Now potentially but is offside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, can happen to the best.
Yeah, and Robert will be treating this really as a practice match. This is the last match he's going to play before he's in the first round knockout. And it's that type of hoop that he's going to want to be basically 100% on, and being able to not just run it, but run it by 15 yards down to the next hoop. So I think all he can do here is try and nudge the red gently behind the hoop by hitting it on the left-hand side. And that's quite a tough shot. So he's played it. Misses the red, nudges the black. And the good news from Rob's point of view is at least yellow can get down to hoop 8.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to do much to try and stop black from running with where red is, unless he's nudged it far enough through that red can hit the right-hand side of black, which is possible. Blue's short there. And Rob has got a bit of this right-hand side poking out.
The wire.
It's quite interesting there, because that could have been a fault.
If Mallet had hit the hoop as well.
Well, his mallet did hit the hoop. But that isn't a fault. What would be a fault would be his mallet hitting the hoop, causing black to move.
Right.
So I'm sure Robert wasn't expecting to hit the hoop when he was swinging over it. And even if it had been a fault, Nelson would probably have said, I'm just going to leave the balls where they were, because it hasn't caused him any issue. Red's gone miles away, and it's a much worse position for hoop 8 than if he'd have brought it back. But Nelson will be disappointed with that black from the jaws of 7. You expect to get in front of 8. And again, noticing the shot Robert played from the side of the hoop there, it bobbled as soon as he hit it. And that's these old hoop holes. So you've got to make sure that you're not in an old hoop hole. This is very good, I think.
It's a lovely
Could
shot.
be in front.
No,
No.
too far.
That showed a bit of pace down by that
It
hoop.
did, didn't it? It actually picked it up.
So there's clearly a few little areas at mid-afternoon, and the sun's now just starting to come through, isn't it?
And it is quite brown at that area of lawn.
Yes. And again, mentioning earlier, do you err on the short side, the long side? What's the area of miss? Red wants to be on the short boundary side. So, up on lawn 9, Jenny and Richard playing to hoop 13 in the second game, I believe, and I think Jenny is game up. So this is a really quite important match. If Jenny wins 2-0, she becomes second in the block, and if she does anything other than win 2-0, I think she's probably going to be fourth. So Richard's played first to 13. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. Meanwhile, down at hoop 8, we're getting into one of these niggly crossword positions.
Lawn took that.
Yeah. And Jenny's both missed both the 20-yarders, and Richard's now got a 3-yard hoop to equalise and force Jenny down the seeding positions. Nelson trying to play in off the red.
It was just a bit too far forward.
Yeah, I think yellow's probably got an open hoop. Yeah, Richard wins the second. That'll mean Jenny's got a really tough first round knockout match now. Nice shot from Nelson, moving the red away, getting blue in front. Red will just play back in again, between blue and the hoop. Robert's just looking at a spot to avoid blocking yellow at blue. That's good. Nelson trying to do the opposite and find a spot that does block yellow at blue.
Yes.
Just a fraction too far. Again, that's about where Robert's power is at the moment. He'd be hoping to hit it in the middle and clear it all the way to hoop 3. Yeah, nice central clearance from Nelson. And Robert will again play a sort of mid-pace clearance, I think, here on the black. He's moved it, but
Not
Not
much.
very far, no. We'll be back in front here. Patience.
Hmm.
Again, yeah, Will probably have a go at that hoop from 5 yards away. Nelson just back in front. Yeah, he's going to force Red to hit it again from about 10 yards away.
You're going to go for a block, do you think? Blue.
Blue will definitely
Yeah.
go for a block. Yeah, he's not going to do anything to move Blue too far away from the hoop. And there's two good things to block. You can block Red at black and you can block Red at the hoop. That's a good shot. Yep, good effort at the hoop, but
Absolutely.
no cigar, and Nelson's now got a chance to equalise. This is going to be
Indeed.
for 4-all.
Yep. 4-all.
And if this is Nelson's last World Championship, I think he can look back with pride. Already got 2 match wins from 8th position in seeding, so you're expected to win none. And he's got 2 matches, so he'll be pleased. And very substandard balls there from Robert. He's an excellent positional player. To put 2 balls in that he doesn't fancy running the hoop with, he'll be very disappointed. And I think we'll see yellow clear blue moving yellow to the south boundary in front of the hoop, so half ball on the left. Now he's taking the hoop on.
Mm.
It's inside the corner, so it's runnable.
Oh.
Change your mind. You know, had he been 5-3 up, I think he might have just had a go at that for the practice. At 4-all, he doesn't want to be losing games.
Still undecided though.
Yeah. So probably half ball on the left. Yeah, very nice. Took it quarter ball and moved blue all the way to the west boundary. And again, Nelson will just play back in here. Just wants to keep it as positional as he can, Nelson. Another lovely, lovely shot. I think he's got the block. It's quite interesting if you could build your perfect croquet player. Who would you have for each aspect? And, you know, for your long range, well, I think if you're going for 20-yard jump shots, you might have Ewan Burridge, and then for all your other jump shots, you'd have Reg. And actually, Nelson's positional play is so good, he would be up there for who you'd want to take position for you. Free go at the hoop there. He would have been thrilled with the jaws. And Robert might take the same opinion. Now he's playing in gently. And again, once again, we're getting one of these positions where all 4 balls within 7 yards of the hoop. Lots of people would think, oh, well, he's going to clear black to the boundary there, is he? But no, actually, he's going to do the opposite. He's going to force black to clear something.
Yep.
And Robert's the first one with the ball directly in front of the hoop. And clearing yellow here isn't massively strong. You've got to hit it on the left-hand side. And he's done that. And Rob's got, again, 2 choices. Put another ball close to the hoop, or just clear the blue. And that's forcing Nelson to take on this, again, tough 7-yard clearance. Got to hit it mid-pace, can't afford to lose your own ball to the opposite boundary. Excellent shot.
Well done.
Very good. And the news is that Mr. Burridge has beaten Nick Archer.
Ah.
He lost the first against Nick, and at that stage we worked out he needed to win it 6 consecutive games to make the knockout. That was all the rest of his block games, and then probably back-to-back playoff games as well. So anyway, he's done the first 2 of the 6. And Nelson had a go at his hoop from the boundary and has missed completely. So here, yellow just takes basic position. And blue knows that if it leaves red where it is, red will be able to nudge in front of the hoop wide from black. So it wants to make it a little bit more difficult to get wide position. But any sort of wide position from black, Nelson is dead, because blue can be cleared by yellow.
Mm.
Clear favourite, Rob here. Yellow playing wide from the black ball. Blue shouldn't be able to clear both red and yellow, which is its ideal outcome. So he's run his hoop into yellow, but now yellow can just power blue away, and Rob should be in
A strong position to
Control.
run that one.
just taking the extra time to look for a wide spot in the distance. So trying to rush blue so it's wide from red by the hoop. And again, perhaps not critical against Nelson, but later on in the tournament, where you're playing these people who are going to be hitting these 30-yarders, maybe, you know, 1 in 3, 1 in 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get them wired, it's going to be a big advantage. And how do the pace of these lawns compare to your home club, Bridget?
Well, I have 2 clubs. So Surbiton, I'd say, are similar to these. Ealing are playing slightly slower at the moment.
Okay.
They've been refurbished, but Surbiton might be slightly faster than this.
Yeah, I would guess, because
Um,
you've got the Surreys happening this weekend, haven't
Yes.
you? I would guess George would have them probably a full second and a half, maybe 3 seconds faster than these for the Surreys. Excellent club, so Surbiton.
Yes, absolutely.
Lots of very helpful members doing lots of tasks. Real proper croquet club.
Well, it's lovely because you have people at all levels,
Yes,
and it's friendly and inclusive.
absolutely.
The Seven Lawns are just gorgeous.
A nice hoop from Rob there, taking back his lead that Nelson had managed to claw back. So 5-4 now to Rob. Game up.
What's your club this week?
What's my club? Well, Jenny and myself are members at United in Christchurch.
Right.
I'm also a member at Nottingham.
Ah, yes.
But I say I've had 2 games of croquet in the past 2 years, so I don't really play anymore. But yeah, United has some fantastic croquet lawns that can be some of the most challenging in the world for top class AC events.
Challenging in what way?
They can be fast, so we can get them up to 14, 15 seconds, and the subsoil is very, very firm, so the hoops can be regarded as some of the most difficult in the world. So even running a 1 foot straight hoop can be something you need to keep your wits about you. So very good for AC.
Just past.
And Nelson should be able to convert this opportunity. Now, blue needs to be in position wide from yellow. I'm not sure he's hit that quite hard enough. Blue might be able to cut it on the right hand side so it is wide from yellow. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised to see Robert try and play into yellow. It's not a good ball at all at the moment, yellow. Can he move it? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Hasn't quite got the follow through to get red in front of the hoop. So Nelson's going to have a pop at this hoop, try and equalise at 5-all.
So close.
Now. And a stop shot clearance now. Trying to keep yellow in front of the hoop. Red's all over black, so he just needs to move blue a good distance away, keeping control of the yellow. I would have been hoping to do better than with that. Yellow's travelled probably 4 or 5 feet after contact. Now with a really good stop shot, you can keep it within a foot. And Robert's playing that shot more as a centre ball clearance than as an out and out stop shot. So my ball's going to be skidding more when it contacts. He's jawsed it. Top shot, Nelson.
Hey.
Rob's going to try and get it out straight away.
I'm sure
He's calling a referee. Same principle as last time. After he follows through, the blue's going to be coming out, the red's going to be sort of in that area. Does he follow through and hit something?
Indeed.
Now tell us more about the Ealing Club.
So the Ealing Club has 3 lawns. It's in the middle of a public park,
Yeah.
Lammers Park in Ealing, and has a range, again, a range of players, from Alan Giraud.
Yes.
Um,
Jenny's doubles partner at the Opens.
Probably our top player, or really, although a sort of guest player for us now. But it's reasonably social. It's like many croquet clubs that have struggled in the last 5 or 6 years, whereby the land that they're on is owned by the council,
Yeah.
and the council would like either the land or some profit back,
Ah.
which makes the situation quite difficult. Whereas really what you need to do is be increasing the membership by a considerable amount, which is a challenge, which is surprising. It has always surprised me, being in London, where you have such a diverse population of every nature. But this is only my opinion, there are so many things that you can do. And croquet is only one of them,
It
one
is.
of many, many, many. And so
Yeah.
there are many things that are vying for
Absolutely.
people's attention.
Yeah.
And I think therein lies in the problem.
Just go back to the last 2 shots there. Robert cleared the blue with the yellow. He's basically given up hoop 10, and he's just tried to move the yellow to an onside position in front of 11. Nelson, knowing he's won hoop 10, has played blue northeast of the hoop to potentially give him the opportunity to run through the hoop with black and leave blue a rush to 11. So that's just trying to explain the last 2 sets of play, and a lovely length hoop there by Nelson. Yellow now onside and has the choice of just taking it on straight away. No, he's just taking position. And the reason he's doing that is he's confident of clearing black wherever black finishes with red. So within Rob's range, this. So Nelson's going to try and rush it in front of the hoop. He's overhit it.
Just, yes.
And now Rob has no need to clear the black. He can just take position.
Presumably between blue and yellow would be also helpful.
No, black's going to clear yellow. It doesn't really matter. All he's got to avoid is black double clearing yellow and red. So that's a nice, sensible position. Black needs to clear yellow as far as possible, corner 3 preferably, with a stop shot holding position. That's not really very good. So again, this is a straightforward, back in front again. Very much how I try and play the game. I just want to be taking position all the time. And what I find is if my opponent spent most of the game clearing, they've lost.
Well, just because eventually they'll run out of steam.
Yeah. Eventually, they either hit 1/4 ball and go miles away or miss completely. And you don't find many people who are just going to hit 10, 12 consecutive shots. So now we will see red try and take position, blocking black. That's a bit short. Had a go at his hoop.
So close.
And he's got the second prize, which I think he's got the block, probably on both red, and
yellow.
Certainly yellow's blocked. If red's open, Rob will just clear the blue away. But if it isn't, he might try and get rid of the black straight away. Nicely in the middle to control yellow staying near the hoop.
Unlucky. I think he can see the hoop.
I think so. Actually, by the position on his hands have already gone further down the shaft. That's his jumping range. So we'll move his hands further down to jump. It's not difficult.
Lovely
Very
jump.
nice shot. And I think we'll find black might not be able to get all the way down there. But red's in front of that hoop, isn't it? And that's for the match. Yeah, Nelson's had to play out to the side there, so
6-5.
6-5 to Rob. Game up.
Another lovely shot. What's Nelson thinking?
Well, he's thinking about taking position, because if he clears red, he's not going to clear it very far. Yellow's still in front. Almost his best chance of winning the hoop is to just try and take position here, blocking red from the hoop. And most people are just going to clear red, but this is the right choice for Nelson.
Oh,
He's
yes.
playing-
No, what a shame.
playing to his strength. Not quite, but let's see if Rob can take this. It's not easy, it's a little bit angled.
Nelson breathes again.
Yeah, and had blue got position, Nelson now could play this away with a bit more power and try and get Rob to miss. All he's trying to do now is hit it in the middle, move it out of hoop running position, and get back to this everything within 7 yards again. And there's been lots of that this game, haven't there?
Yes, indeed.
And very little when we were watching Will. And for other New Zealand viewers, we've got Jenny 3-all against Richard Bilton in the third game.
Not that you have an interest in this at all.
No, I don't have much of an interest anymore because she needed to win 2-0. So whether she wins or loses, that isn't the end of the earth anymore. And Nelson trying to move black north, so it was wired from red by yellow, and tried to let it hit down on the blue to follow blue through into hoop running position. And he hasn't got blue in hoop running position. I think Rob's about to take control of this hoop here. Nudging this directly in front is very strong. And that's all well and good, but this time I think Rob will play his clearance. I think he is going to try and clear the blue here. There
shot.
you go. It's the hardest shot we've seen hit all match, and a very good one.
Oh,
Great shot from
well
Nelson.
done.
That's like, 1 in 100. Absolutely nailed it. Not just that, but he's got hoop position himself. Robert can probably only flick this 8th ball. It's, yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's the sort of shot you want to save up when you're in a final. But having said that,
Or about to lose a game.
this is probably Nelson's final match in the World Championship main event.
Possibly. Or possibly not.
And I'm sure he'd love to say, "Oh, I beat Robert Fulford in a game last time I played."
Yeah.
So just trying to flick this to the side. Good shot. Keeping red in control of an area. Nicely played shot. Nelson will nudge in front again.
Yeah.
I think Rob will clear that immediately with the yellow. Doesn't want blue having a northwards clearance on red that might get it up towards 13, so I think he'll need to play the clearance immediately. Very good in the middle.
Looks like he's got choices here.
Yeah, again, he looks like his hands have gone down the mallet. Wouldn't be surprised seeing him trying to go over the top of this. No, that was his flat shot. Very good.
Well done, Rob. Hard lines, Nelson.
Congratulations to Robert, winning all these matches in his block. So he'll be a #1 seed, one of the 8. And also congratulations to Nelson, a good tournament, and best of luck in the consolation event in the plate. Thanks for your time, Bridget.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's been a lovely afternoon so far.
Excellent.
Thanks for watching, everybody. That's the end of our stream for this afternoon. We'll be back online at 5 o'clock, hopefully to watch some playoff games. Looking forward to seeing you a bit later.